Let's start with Shir because Shir's actually has a limited time today. So Shir, how are you doing, my friend?
Very
Please
good.
introduce yourself and tell us about what you do for BitcoinOS.
Sure. Thank you, Claire, for the warm introduction. And in general, I'd like to give a big hands up to Claire for being such a great, proactive, approachable community manager. It's a blessing to have you on the team, and I know the community loves you, and you always represent them in team conversations, making sure everyone's voice is being heard. Yeah, thank you for doing such a great job, and mostly, thank you for caring so much. That's real.
Ah,
So,
thank you, my friend. I appreciate that significantly. I love all
my
of
name
you.
is Shir. Yeah, I know. My name is Shir. I'm the head of marketing for BitcoinOS. I am also acting as the head of adoption for Sovereign. That's the project that incubated BitcoinOS before BOS spread its wing and became its own independent infrastructure project. In my role, I basically oversee everything that has to do with marketing, from social media to different events, and everything and anything in between, including some advertising from time to time. Yeah, I mean it's a whole world of activities. I can tell you, Claire, is it allowed to drop alpha? Is that okay to do in Spaces? It's
Please
strictly
drop alpha right now.
all right. We have a lot of things coming up in the pipeline. We're going to officially introduce ZKBTC, which is how we call the programmable Bitcoin, which is a Bitcoin native programmable Bitcoin, first in the world. So that announcement is coming up soon with its use cases, the addressable market, and the impact we think it's going to have, and the adoption we think it's going to have. So that's very exciting things we're working on right now. We're also about to ship a roadmap. Okay.
I think you muted yourself, my friend, or lost connection. I don't know. Can everybody hear me? Maybe it's me.
I can hear you.
Okay. So, all right, that's coming at you guys with some alpha. Didn't know we were going to announce CKBTC today, but yeah, you guys have a lot to look forward to. So that's exciting. Give me 1 second here before I'm just worried that the account is going to log off. Guys, okay, sorry about that, guys. I just wanted to make sure that the actual boss account itself didn't disconnect. Otherwise everything would have we would have ended the space. So give me one more second because Shir is trying to log back in. Let's see here. Sorry about that, friends. Thank you for your patience. Much appreciated. Well, if he doesn't log back in, you guys got a little bit of alpha there. A lot more information regarding that is going to be coming really soon, especially with the updated roadmap as well that you guys have been waiting for. I can't give any timelines on that right now. Where we're kind of at with it, like just as a transparency, just on a transparency level with you guys, is we're just finalizing some information on the blog posts, and then we're also just finalizing some minor adjustments on some of our graphics. Obviously, you guys know that we just rebranded, so we're trying to bring those new branding visuals into some of the graphics, and then from there we'll obviously be ready to announce it. But I'm not sure if Shir's going to be rejoining. So with that being said, let's move on. If he comes back, he can talk more about ZQBTC for you guys. Let's go to David. David, how are you, my friend? Please introduce
I'm good.
yourself.
Okay. I'm David. I'm the lead DevRel. Also doing a lot of BD based out in Hong Kong. So I'm very focused on Asia at the moment. And yeah, anything product, explaining things. I would say we've been building a lot of different things. You'll see from the roadmap that's gonna come out that we kind of achieved a couple of very significant firsts in the industry and on Bitcoin last year, in the last 12 months. And now we have a very solid kind of foundation to build on, and both from ZK verification, from charms, and a few other exciting things that you're going to see soon. You're kind of going to see this BOS tech stack getting upgraded, getting a facelift, getting a new iteration closer to being implemented. And there is a plan for that as well, which will be explained in due time, but very soon. So yeah, exciting to kind of come back to these calls a bit more often, because there's now, like I said, upgraded technologies, new ideas, a very clear path going forward. And again, it's been great to see the community grow this much with Clair's done a fantastic job.
Awesome. Cool. Well, thanks for introducing yourself, David. And quick question for you. Are you a degen or a Bitcoin maxi?
What do you mean by that? Like, do you mean I'm absolutely a DJ. Absolutely. Absolutely.
I figured.
But
How's your
but
portfolio doing?
no comment. But it's not always healthy, to live inside a casino. This is very much like what the industry is to some extent. Like, that's why, you kind of stay sane, building things, doing things. But yeah, I don't give advice on markets. But we do have a fund here in Hong Kong, if anyone is interested, called CryptoNet Capital. We do venture and advisory, things like that.
And you're participating in that, right? On what level?
I am one of the founders and GPs.
Wow. That's amazing. We'll have to talk about that more sometime, because I'm definitely interested to hear more about it. I'm sure the community is as well.
Sure. We are, we are also investors in BitcoinOS. So we have
Very
a couple
cool.
of investments across the Bitcoin ecosystem.
Very
Yeah,
interesting. Very interesting.
yeah,
Yeah, we'll have to
full
talk about that
circle.
more, but yeah, I
Sure.
guess knowing you're a degen, I definitely won't come to you for any trading advice, huh?
Please don't.
You're fine, man. I always talk about how my bag is down like 95%, so it's in the shitter, man. So I'm right there with you. Being a degen has not necessarily had its perks this cycle, but as everybody says, we're gearing up for the juiciest altcoin super cycle, right? It's right around the corner, guys. Right around the corner. But anyways, let's move on here. Very, very, very excited and happy to introduce my friend, Eric, to you guys. Eric, thank you so much for being here, my friend. Please introduce yourself, talk a little bit about what you do for BOS. If you've got any alpha to share, the community would absolutely love that. And yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me on. It's good to finally be on one of these. I've been kind of sneaking myself into the Discord from time to time recently, but I think it was time to kind of take it up a level. But yeah, I'm Eric. I run the events and some of the strategy at BOS, while also managing aspects of growth and BD. So yeah, everything, all the IRL activations that we host. I know we kind of went a little crazier as a company before I came on. as we were kind of introducing the BitcoinOS brand. Kind of had to get a bit more strategic since I've been here with how we activate and where our focuses lie. But yeah, I mean, we've had the opportunity to do a lot of fun things. Vegas was a blast. We've done some small activations earlier in the year at Consensus and ETH Denver, and we have some fun things in the pipe as well that we'll be targeting during KBW in Seoul and also in Singapore during Token. So excited to keep planning these out and excited for you guys to excited to be more involved with you guys as we plan them. I'll give a little bit of context here. It's funny we're talking about deep diving into tech and degenning, but my background's actually in fine arts with quite a bit of experience in F&B and events management. So kind of humanizing myself a little bit more. I didn't even come into the Web3 space until the beginning of last year. Barely any digital portfolio, close to zero knowledge, pun intended, around emerging blockchain tech, and really like zero past experience with the corporate structure. So it's been a whirlwind of a journey, and 2 years later, I'm still here. As we all are learning every single day more about this space and where we're headed, and it's crazy, to think that I'm organizing events around BOS, which is, call it here. I'm going to read AI right here. A modular infrastructure layer implementing a ZK-proof verification protocol on Bitcoin's mainnet that facilitates the cryptographic verification of arbitrary computation through succinct, non-interactive arguments of knowledge, enabling permissionless bridging mechanics, cross-chain interoperability, and Turing-complete smart contract execution. Eventually, I'll fully understand what that means, but just to put it into perspective, that's where we're at. But anyways, shifting gears a little bit, as many of you know at this point, BOS has gotten a facelift. Clair is going to be speaking on this a little bit more. This rebrand, as you guys have seen, it's taken a lot of dedication and I'm sure some tears throughout the process, but the outcome really blew our entire team's mind. And it's a reimagining not only of BOS, but it's honestly setting a new precedent for the brand identity of projects in this space. So, with any rebrand comes some crazy new announcements and, more importantly, new swag. So I guess you can call this a little bit of alpha. At the end of this month, maybe the beginning of September, no later than the 5th, we're going to be launching a merch store on our website. So, not only can you expect fresh new branding at our IRL activations and kind of collectible new apparel to rep BOS, but we're also going to be launching some stuff on our site. So whether you couldn't catch us at a conference, you need to swag out the family and loved ones, whatever it may be, the option for getting BOS branded stuff will be available to everybody. So I don't want to give away too much exactly about what we'll launch. I think hopefully I can announce this. I think we'll be discussing next week with kind of one of the masterminds behind the studio that led the rebrand on another community call. So I'll wait to sort of introduce some of the items till he's been able to speak on it himself. But yeah, we're very excited. I think you guys are gonna be really happy with some of the designs, some of the quirky new items that will be available exclusively through our merch store. And I think it's gonna be we're gonna have a lot of fun with it. And I hope you guys enjoy it just as much as we have. I'm gonna give also a last minute shout out to Jon Snow 185 because when I had long hair, that was my nickname. So I just saw that in the call. So that's all I got.
You're a clown. You're an absolute clown. This is why we always just laugh endlessly when we're together. First of all, that was an amazing introduction. You definitely covered some really cool elements, things that we're doing behind the scenes. Was also just going to comment on just the description you read about BitcoinOS, modular infrastructure, middleware layer, whatever, all that. Trust me, same here. When I first started at BOS, I was like, oh no. I was like, I'm in trouble. There is absolutely no way I'm going to understand what does Yago like to say? verifiable, ZK verifiable computation. I'm pretty sure I'm never going to be able to understand what that actually means. And I remember listening to him and like David talk on some of these community calls, and I was just like, oh my God. It was like, I think I had to like sleep for an extra like 5 hours after those spaces just because it like just hurt my brain. I was just trying so hard to like grasp what it is that we were genuinely doing. So I can only imagine like the way that the community also felt, which, you know, it's kind of beautiful to see like a major shift in like their understanding over the course of the last couple of months. You know, I know a lot of the community members had no idea what ZKPs were, what cryptography was, and then now they're pretty much the ones that are pitching it to all the new community members and stuff that's coming in. So it's been really beautiful to kind of see that shift. But but yeah, I guess so like you know, the rebrand guys, you know, let's just kind of go over this a little bit. Um so first and foremost, next week, you know, typically on Tuesdays we have our WebB Academy spaces. Next Tuesday, what's going to happen is instead of a regular WebB Academy space, we're actually going to bring on, like Eric said, the masterminds behind the actual like rebranding, the visuals, the imagery, and ultimately this shift that we've created on, you know, on a design level. And they're going to basically, you know, cover everything that you need to know, why this happened, how everything ties into each other, and it should give you guys a good idea of just, you know, just a clear understanding of the rebrand and, you know, its intention. So I will schedule that today, and I will announce it so that anybody who would like to participate can do so next week. But with that being said, let me talk to you guys just on a surface level as to why we have rebranded. And of course, if any of my teammates would like to expand on that, they're more than welcome to do so. But we essentially rebranded because BOS has evolved into something much bigger than just a Bitcoin project. We have been obviously growing at an extremely rapid rate, and we wanted to create an identity that captures that, an identity that's cinematic, an identity that's aspirational, an identity that tells a story. So BOS goes beyond tech, right? It's this world that we're all building together. So the new look that we have, the Tesseract, which is the cube, right, that you guys see within our logo, the imagery, it all reflects our vision of essentially unlocking Bitcoin's full potential and inviting the entire community, the entire ecosystem into this new era with us. So this brand is more than just a design change for us. It's the way that you can look at it is it's a testament to the new era that we're all stepping into. It's this open invitation into this familiar yet transformed setting where we can all come together and build the new internet of value that we've been talking to you guys about as of lately. Now, what that internet of value is I'm not sure if I'm going to share that yet. We've just kind of been dropping some teasers here. I know Yago's been talking about it here and there. But what I would like is for Yago to come up and actually talk about his mindset with not only of the internet of value, but the internet with value as well, and what that actually like entails. And for those of you that don't know, Yago is our co-founder. He is also currently out of office until the end of the month, which is completely well-deserved. He's been going extremely hard for the last couple of months. He's literally taken 0 breaks. So this was much deserved. But hopefully that kind of gives you guys an understanding of like why we decided to do this rebrand. We are pretty much growing, guys. This ecosystem that we have, right? The BOS ecosystem is completely growing, and that goes beyond our partnerships. It's more so also just the fact that we are an open source project, And we have all these different entities that are building on the BOS ecosystem to make basically BOS happen, right? So, we actually put out a post a couple of days ago. Let me just make sure that let me pull this up just to make sure that I am announcing this correctly to you guys. I don't want to say anything that's out of line here. But obviously you guys know that Sovereign, right, is developing apps on the ecosystem. We have extraterrestrial tech that is essentially working on the Grail Pro technology, which Grail Pro is the advanced version of Grail that I've talked to you about in the last community call. And then we have Wake Up Labs, which is pushing the ZK rollup innovation. And then we have Charms, which you guys all know is developing this new chain agnostic token standard, right? That is essentially going to unify the entire cryptocurrency ecosystem, starting with UTXO chains. So we've always talked to you guys about how all of the products that we are building, all the products that we have are open source. And the reason for that is because genuinely our goal here is unification. Our goal here is to end fragmentation. Our goal here is to really take the cryptocurrency ecosystem to the next level, right? And unify everyone with this operating system. And so the only way that we can truly do that is if people come in and they use our technology. So we've always been an open source project. As you guys know, a couple months back, I think it was well over 5-6 months ago now, but we launched BitSnark, and we open source BitSnark, which is our ZK verification protocol. So, we obviously started with that. Charms is obviously the same. You guys know that it's an open source project. But again, everything always ties back into the ecosystem. Even if there are these separate entities that are working on different elements within the OS, everything is still taking place within the OS, within the BOS ecosystem. So, hopefully that gives you guys an understanding of how we're working together. And I also didn't mention that we also have BTCOS, and that's actually who I work for. That's who Eric works for. I believe that's who David works for as well. That's kind of like the commercial and growth side of BitcoinOS, right? So while we have all these other entities that are working on like the infrastructure and the technical side of things, we have BTCOS, the BTCOS team that's working on actually, showcasing the narrative, pushing this on a commercial level, and actually helping, get the tech out there on a marketing standpoint, right? On a community standpoint. So that's who I work for. So yeah, again, guys, our entire goal here, as always, is to just be transparent with you guys every step of the way. Even if there is at times where we can't share information, the information that we can share is limited. Please understand that everything that we do is strategic. Everything that we do is intentional, and we genuinely, as honest and transparent as we can be, we try to be in every single regard, and that will continue. That narrative and that understanding will continue throughout the years coming. So, with that being said, Eric, did you want to say anything about the ecosystem? Did you want to say anything about the rebrand? David, same to you. Did you guys want to comment on anything?
I will add one point to the rebrand. I think in addition to, differentiating ourselves as BOS with kind of like this new unique identity, I think it's also important to note that like this whole vision, this brand, is also meant to empower the community. It's rooted in this sort of storytelling, world building vibe. Those that saw the sort of the hype video that we launched with it, it's kind of like almost more like a film or a video game, than what you'd see in like traditional tech, at least in Web3. So, we want kind of Claire already kind of touched on this, but we want this, with this rebrand to become sort of like a lead up into being a canvas for our community to not only to build, but just to kind of, transform this world with us, whether it be something as simple as creating, memes to building, NFTs on charms. It really it's completely open, and that's kind of the idea. So just kind of wanted to touch on that too, and say that a large part of this rebrand was very much built out with you guys in mind.
Yeah, and to, touch base on what you were saying as well there. On just like a personal level, the rebrand really resonates with me as an avid gamer and, somebody who just genuinely loves fantasy. That's kind of like the vibe that it has, right? And I think that a lot of people within the space, this is something that they can like absolutely relate to. I think that a majority of us have a gaming background. I think a majority of us have like this, you know, fantasy loving like background as well. So it's kind of catering to like this to something that really generally like resonates within all of us. If you look at other Bitcoin projects, it's definitely, significantly different than what other Bitcoin projects are doing, right? It has like this kind of like almost like dystopian vibe that turns utopian. It's this like light to dark like fantasy element to it. Again, for me, it just personally resonates significantly because I love fantasy. I love Lord of the Rings. I love Star Wars. Like I grew up on these. I grew up gaming. So, and I'm sure that a lot of you can relate. And I do hope that over time, this is something that kind of grows on you guys as well. Obviously, I love the Bitcoin Orange as well. And that's something that I don't necessarily, want to give up. But, um, at the end of the day, like, we're growing as an ecosystem and, we're growing as a brand, we're growing as a project, we're growing as a community, as an ecosystem. And we wanted to do something, out there that reflects that mission. So, I'm just
And
gonna,
let's be clear, Bitcoin Orange never goes away, whether
yes,
it's in our brand palette or not.
absolutely.
it'll
No, absolutely. Yeah. Like the orange is something that will always stick, guys. So I know a lot of you were asking, hey, like our profile picture is going to change because we all have kind of like very similar profile pictures, that Bitcoin orange with that beautiful like yellow gradient. Possibly, if you guys would like for it to change, I think we can. If not, we can just add some of like the new like branding, visuals in there and kind of keep that like orange vibe going. So that's something that, again, we're open to discussion as well. I love taking in your considerations. So yeah. But with that, guys, you guys have been asking about the Cardano integration, and we covered this in the last community call. That we're actually building something very special. We're building something that at this very moment in time doesn't exist. So BOS will be the first one to kind of like lead to kind of pioneer with this like new technology. So what it is, guys, is that we are building a custom ZKVM for the Cardano integration. And before I talk about this again, I just want to highlight, a couple of things. I mentioned to you guys I want to tie an educational component to this. Just so that you guys have the knowledge and tools you need to, effectively navigate not only BOS, but like this ecosystem. So what is a ZKVM, right? So virtual machines, VMs, are virtual machines. And what that typically looks like is it's kind of like a mini computer program that runs code, right? So this specific one that we're building actually has zero knowledge capabilities that are built into it. So in simple terms, we have virtual machines. What they do is they run code in a controlled environment, right? Within a program. And then we have zero knowledge, which essentially lets you prove that the result of running that code is correct without showing all the details of it. So what zero knowledge is, or zero knowledge cryptography is, it's a cryptography tool that you can use within networks, you can use within programs, you can use within infrastructure, so on and so forth. And essentially what it does is it lets the prover convince the verifier that the information is true without revealing any of the information behind it. Now, what do I what do I mean by that, right? Like what is that? How can that actually make sense? So an analogy that I can share with you is, imagine you, and I share this all the time because it just makes sense. It's very simple. Imagine you want to go to a club, okay? But you don't want to tell the bouncer, you don't want to show the bouncer your ID. You don't want to tell the bouncer that you're over 18 so that they can let you in, right? So instead of doing that, what you do is you wear a badge, and that badge literally tells the bouncer everything that he needs to know, and he lets you in. So that's pretty much how zero knowledge cryptography works. So what I had said to you guys is that what it does is it lets the prover convince the verifier that the information is true without revealing any of the actual information behind it. So the reason why we use this, instead of trusting people to do the work, right? Instead of trusting custodians within the actual like programming, within actual tech infrastructure, is because it's a lot more trustworthy. It's a lot more trustless to trust the trust the cryptography, to trust the math. So zero knowledge proof technology is significantly more secure. It's resistant to manipulation, and it's extremely fast to verify amongst so many other variables. So for example, I can take multiple proofs, and then which are basically pieces of evidence, guys. Like, when I say proofs, I mean, it's literally like evidence, like a proof, right? So you could take all these multiple proofs, and then you can bundle them into one single proof, right? One single piece of data, one single piece of evidence. And what that does is it can make large systems verifiable in one easy steps, right? So what is a ZKVM, guys? Let's run this back. ZKVMs run programs. And then number two, because it's ZK based, it creates a proof. And by proof, again, I mean evidence that the program was run correctly, right? So it lets anyone verify that proof quickly without needing to trust you, or essentially like rerun like the entire program. So we don't need to trust a custodian. We don't need to trust a person, because the cryptography, the mathematics, is basically doing all the work for us. Okay, so hopefully that gives you guys an understanding, right? So TLDR, we have a virtual machine, right? This mini computer program that's ZK based, right? It's running proofs. And then there's somebody that's, it's running proofs, and then it's being verified within that same program. Okay. So let's go back to kind of like the Cardano integration. So I just want to give you guys an idea of what it is, the actual tech that we're building, before I speak of this Cardano integration. So at the moment, all the ZK VMs that we know of today support an elliptic curve that's called BN254. And what an elliptic curve is it's essentially this math structure within cryptography that defines how keys are created. It defines how signatures are made. It defines how transactions are validated, right? So BN254 is used by many ZK based platforms. However, something to keep in mind here is that BN254 is a little outdated. And so the dev community has been looking at more secure elliptic curves, which is BLS 12 as pretty much like the next step. So believe it or not, and this is not a shocker, Cardano is actually well ahead, guys, because the Cardano network already uses BLS 12. And so in order for us to build a token standard, right, CHARMS, that is chain agnostic, what we need to be able to do is we need to be able to generate proofs for both BLS 12 and BN254. Again, BN254 is the elliptic curve that is currently being used by all these ZK-based platforms. And if we can do that effectively, we can then beam these CHARMS token trustlessly between chains, right? So right now, we're essentially doing something that doesn't exist. We are building a BLS 12 compatible ZK VM. And this is essentially a very necessary building block in our long-term vision, which is obviously to build an operating system for Bitcoin, for other UTXO-based chains, for Cardano, and then eventually to be able to unite the entire cryptocurrency ecosystem, right? So this is, while this is something that, isn't necessarily our main focus, this is something that's absolutely crucial in making, our technology, our interoperability, all the integrations, um, basically essential. So hopefully that gives you guys a little bit of an understanding there. I'm sorry if this kind of went for a very long time. I think for a lot of you, if you're just coming in and hearing about ZKPs for the first time, cryptography for the first time, it's going to be a little bit too much. But I wanted to cover it anyway. And then I did want to share today's secret code, which is 21. So it's the number 2 and then it's 1. That's the secret code for today, guys, and I will not repeat it again. And then let's go into, some community-based things before we get into your questions. So first and foremost, our Zeely sprint just started about an hour and a half ago. This is our 4th Zeely sprint. Now, something interesting we're doing this time around is our first sprint, our first 2 sprints, we actually only rewarded the top 5. Last sprint, we awarded the top 10. This sprint, we are awarding the top 15 of the leadership board. So if you climb your way up the leadership board and you find yourself in the top 15 at the end of the sprint, you will essentially be able to claim a piece of the prize pool. So because we've expanded to the top 15, our prize pool also increased. Typically, our prize pool is $1,000 in USDC, ERC20. This time around, our prize pool is $1,200 in USDC, ERC20. So like the first place, for example, first place winner gets 200, second place 175, third place 150, fourth place 125, fifth place 100, and then the rest goes down into the 50s and $25 range. But again, this is just because we want to just say thank you once again for sticking with us. Thank you for being an advocate. Thank you for being loyal. Thank you for sharing our excitement. So hopefully this just reflects that for you guys. It's just a token of our appreciation as always. So if you guys would like to participate in the Zeely Sprint, which everybody is open to, everybody is welcome to, please head over to our Discord, head over to our announcements channel, and you'll find all the instructions there. Besides that, let's talk about something that's also extremely exciting on a community level that's going on. So as you guys know, a lot of you have been utilizing the Engage bot on our Discord. And the way that typically works is the Engage bot will post a space link, or it will post a tweet. It will tell you to comment. It will tell you to reply, retweet, so on and so forth. For doing that, you get a specific amount of points. Now, you guys have been doing this for like the last 3 months and you have not claimed any rewards whatsoever. Well, I'm very happy to finally introduce that today I will be announcing a reward marketplace, my friends. So there will be a initial number of rewards that can be claimed. Please keep in mind that there are very limited spots initially. And the reason for that is because this is our initial, just kind of like a testing ground. This is the first time we're doing this. So I want to see how it goes. I want to see how it flows. And from there, moving forward in the coming months, I will not only update those spots, those limited spots, but I will also continue adding new rewards. Now, with that being said, if you guys are part of different communities and you see that they offer different types of rewards, please open up a support ticket, tag me, and tell me which ones those are, because I genuinely would like to offer a lot more rewards. I'm kind of my brain is honestly just soup right now, and it's not functioning as it should be. So I don't really have like my creative juices coming through right now. So if there is something that, again, you guys would like to see in the reward marketplace, please let me know. I'm happy to cater to that. We're happy to cater to that as always. But yeah, super, super, super excited about this for you guys. And just to give you an understanding of like what this reward marketplace looks like is you can actually exchange your points either for USDC, you can exchange your points for a t-shirt, and you can also exchange your points for a hat. So pretty exciting. And what's also pretty cool too is kind of what Eric mentioned is we're actually revamping our merchandise. So you guys will be able to get pieces of that either when that's ready and you can wait, or you can actually get our just the current merchandise that we've had for the last like year or so. So you guys get to choose. And then I will say too that once you actually go in and claim those rewards, please open up a support ticket so that I can cater to you guys and I can send your rewards and so on and so forth. But yeah, I wanted to announce that. And then another cool community event that's happening as well, guys, is we are actually having our very first movie night tonight. It starts in about 4 hours from now. We're actually going to be watching Parasite. I don't know if you guys have watched that before, but it's an amazing movie. It's completely mind bending. It's won several awards, and I highly implore you to go and watch the trailer. But also just please come and hang out. We would love to be with you and just vibe with you. And obviously anybody who participates in any of our events gets extra XP towards Zeely. And also I'm kind of doubling the rewards today, and you will also get points for Engage as well. So pretty cool. There was also a couple people on our Discord earlier today that were complaining about the Zeely Sprint and saying that we're only catering towards old members and that new members don't get a chance to actually take the lead, like they'll be left behind. I want to speak on this. This is not true. The reason being is because we always have different events that are happening within Discord itself, right? So we have a movie night, for example. We typically have trivia nights or game nights pretty much every single week. We have like impromptu, like random events that take place. And people typically get Zeely XP for that, right? So you can literally come and participate in these events and get XP for that. So what I'm trying to say with that is we try to do whatever we can to create as much balance as possible. Obviously, it's very understandable that, when you're a long-time community member, you're eventually going to unlock different perks within the server, right? You're going to unlock different roles and things of that nature. And it's going to, give you the opportunity to be able to, for example, get whitelist opportunities or extra XP claimed for different campaigns that we're running, things of that nature, right? So just stick around and you will absolutely reap the benefits, my friend. I promise you that we always have something running for the community. There's always incentives. And please don't let the free XP opportunities on Zeely deter you either. I promise you can get ahead. I promise you can. There's multiple ways to get XP, not only by doing quests, but also on Discord. If you go and read the announcement, you'll see that I highlighted different ways that you can get XP within Discord. Keep in mind, not everybody participates in these, right? So I said you could participate in the movie night, you could participate in the trivia night, the game night. You can react to our announcements in the announcements channel. That gives you XP. You can drop a meme in the Meme Wars channel. That gives you XP. You can drop a question in the AMA questions channel. That gives you XP. You can drop a nice, thoughtful message in the Good Morning, Good Night channel. That also gives you XP. There's so many ways to position yourself in the lead. You just have to put yourself out there. That's it. You just have to try. Again, not everybody's going to, make sure they're doing every single thing perfectly. So you will have opportunities, my friends. And again, welcome to our new community members. Please stick around. We always have something, we always have, like I said, some kind of incentive that's running. And there's a lot of value that can be extracted from all of that as well, whether it's in our calls, our WebB Academy spaces, so on and so forth. So with that being said, let me go to our AMA questions channel to see if there's any questions for me or the team. And like I said, guys, if you do have any questions at this moment in time, please go drop them in the AMA questions channel, and I'll be happy to do my best to answer them. Or David or Eric can answer them too. So, David, this one is something that you might be able to touch base on. So this question is, could you comment on the incentive model strategy for SLAM node operators? Specifically, how will rewards tied to uptime and latency targets together with progressive penalties be implemented to maximize reliability and deter bad behavior?
It's a long question. I would say generally it's kind of about trying to make sure that the value that are in the nodes somewhat represents the total value of BTC that's being secured. So I think that's kind of important. So the bigger sorry, the bigger the TVL is inside the vault or inside the system, I reckon the more BOS tokens should be required to maintain security, maintain nodes. So I think that's part of it. But just like any other system, there's a couple of upgrades coming. I can't say too much, but part of the system, or there are pretty cool systems that you can build where you keep things somewhat permissioned too. So if you do things in a permissioned way, sometimes with permission group, you can have specific tokenomics around the cost of running a node, etc. But generally, I think it's make it proportional to how much the value of the network is.
Hopefully that answers that, my friend. That was by To Be Cryptological. As we've mentioned time and time again, once we've kind of like finalized all the details regarding SLAM nodes, BOS nodes, rewards, so on and so forth, we will not only have a blog around that, we will not only create a very specific category on Discord for that, so that there's instructions on actually how to participate as a node operator, but also just providing you guys with more information, because this is something that's, one of the topics that is highlighted significantly within the community. So I promise you that once we have more information, we will be hosting several spaces around it. So Social Chain asked the very question that everybody's asking, pretty much when TGE. Any updates on TGE, exchange listing targets, when investors can start expecting ROIs? Interesting. Thank you for asking, my friend. Guys, I'm going to tell you the same thing that I've been telling you guys for the last couple of weeks, last couple of months. First of all, I do want to say I apologize on behalf of the team for this delay. But please, once again, do understand that it is with the utmost best intention in mind. Everything that we are doing on our end is strategic, it's intentional. Not only do we have best intentions in mind for the tech itself, for the infrastructure itself, for the cryptocurrency ecosystem itself, but also this reflects on you guys and will reflect on the community as well. So it's extremely important that we launch strong and not fast. But as we've been transparent with you guys about the reasons as to why, TGE has been delayed past Q2. And the reason for this, my friends, is because of what we've been saying time and time again, which is that we are trying to secure a position with top tier exchanges, right? And our conversations are progressing extremely well with them. But, the time at which things progress, it varies, right? It's dynamic. So there's a lot of elements that go into securing an exchange partnership. It's beyond just being like, okay, here's this amount of money, here's that amount of money. You're done. That's it. There's a lot more to that, guys. Like they require a lot of, you know, how do I explain this? Like they require like a lot of like elements from us, and and they ask for us to meet those elements. They ask for us to meet those requirements, right? And on top of that, there's also negotiations that take place about certain things. And so this takes time. This unfortunately just is something that takes time, and it's good that it takes time because it's really important that it's done correctly. So that's all I can say about TGE at the moment. Please, as always, keep your notifications on. Stay active on our Discord. You will be the first to know. You guys will literally be the first to know as soon as there is something that we can share with you guys. So again, apologies for the delay here, but please do understand that it's with the absolute best intention in mind. We want to launch strong. We don't want to launch fast. Please go and do your research and look at the projects that have launched fast. It has not reflected well. That's all I can say. So at this moment in time, we, appreciate your patience. We appreciate your understanding. We appreciate your support as we, finalize these partnerships. And again, you guys will be the absolute first to know as long as you are active, you remain active, you keep those notifications on. And again, we just appreciate your patience there. So next question. Couple of questions, it seems, from the same person. So Jimmy Shaker said, with great excitement, I am reading that there will be many ways how the BOS token shall profit and gain value over time through the whole ecosystem. Since there is a 12-year token emission schedule, I'd like to see the token accrue its value over time step by step. My question is, who is to say that the token will not be replaced by a better token in 2, 3, or 4 years' time? Is there some guarantee that this will still be the only infrastructure token for all of BitcoinOS's future? I'm asking because it was emphasized that BitcoinOS is not a company. What rules are there to follow for BitcoinOS in order to generate trust rather than doubt? David, do you want to answer that, or do you want me to dive into it?
I mean, just say a few words, but I think it's very hard to set this point. I think one really healthy way of looking at a project like this is, you're a team that's working really hard to build this new technology, and the most important thing is always to get this technology adopted, run pilots, keep experimenting with it, get feedback from customers, find something that people want to use and scale it up. And then when you do that, you will find where all the value is, like where's the revenue coming, how does the value chain look? So it's really, really step by step. And so I think the token, you can always have ideas about the token. You can always imagine things and say, hey, you can accrue value like this, like that, or the other. But I think until you have a real system that's working, you can never be quite sure. Once you have that, you can really, once you focus on getting the right product market fit, you can really find ways to accrue value to the token, real value, as you know now, because you have a solid kind of ecosystem. So in that sense, I think you can say that potentially, of course, over a very long time, tokenomics can change a lot. That's the case for every project, but you have governance around it, right? You have transparency, you have discussion around it, and sometimes it's for the best as well. And the community will have to decide that in the long run as well. And yeah, I think the key is that there's a good governance process, so it's always done to the better outcome for token holder. Do things in a fair way, and you think over time, as the market also keeps changing, evolving, as long as we can build products that are being used, we're close to our customers, our system is like having dominant market share, whether it's like Bitcoin, TVL, DeFi, security, whatever it is, then we're always going to find ways to route revenue back to the community and the token.
Thanks, David. Appreciate that. I guess I'll just expand on that too. Um, just and it might not necessarily answer the question directly, but let's just kind of go back to like what the purpose of like the BOS token is, right? We obviously have an operating system, and there is a service level agreement that needs to be maintained. And so that's essentially what the token serves as, right? It's essentially this service level agreement maintaining token, right? It helps upkeep the integrity of the entire OS. And so yes, BitcoinOS is not a company. We have all these different entities that are building within for the operating system, within the operating system. And regardless of that, we still have the token that's essentially maintaining upkeeping the integrity of this OS, right? So it doesn't, there being multiple entities that are building on BOS doesn't necessarily mean that that's going to affect the token negatively. In any facet, if that makes sense. If anything, it's going to help build and bring more value, because there's new opportunities, there's more opportunities flowing in. So, I've shared this before and I'll share it again, but this is obviously not financial advice. But when there is pressure on the BOS OS, on the actual ecosystem itself, when there is when there's demand for the BOS token will also increase, my friends. Again, not financial advice. But hopefully that at least, answers a portion of your message. And then you also mentioned, what rules are there to follow for BitcoinOS in order to generate trust rather than doubt? That's also a really good question. I would just like for you to kind of like look at some elements here that we have implemented into kind of our ethos, our mission, everything that we've been doing, right? First and foremost, all our tech is ZK powered. We are literally trying to minimize trust as much as we possibly can, right? ZKPs enable that. ZKPs allow that. ZKPs are extremely secure. They're extremely fast. We can, take a bunch of proofs, bundle them into one, right? And then verify that. So there's a lot of like security measures that are being taken. And one thing that you can look at is the fact that we're utilizing ZKPs. Number two, a lot of these bridging systems, for example, they use the honest majority model, which means that 50% and up of basically like operators need to come to a consensus, right? And agree that, hey, this is this person's Bitcoin. Let it, mint whatever on the other side, right? And so with that being said, we've kind of pretty much like come to a conclusion, community call after community call. You guys know this, that this system is essentially prone to compromise. And so what we've decided to do is we use the one event trust assumption method, which means that we only need one verifier to basically create trust within our system, right? We only need one person to maintain and upkeep the integrity. As long as we have one person that's honest, that's all that we need for the system to keep unfolding and doing all the things that it needs to do, right? And so what that means is you can have 9,000 people who are dishonest, okay, within our operating system, that are upkeeping the integrity of the system. As long as you have one honest participant, that's all you need for the system to continue functioning optimally, okay? And what that typically means is you would need 100% of operators, validators, whatever, provers, ZK verifiers to essentially take down the system. That's impossible. I don't want to say impossible. I think it's impossible. I'm pretty sure Yago has said it's impossible. So, there's a lot of these, safety elements and extra security measures that we're taking within our infrastructure to make that possible. And then another thing with trust, look at Charms. Look at Charms. Why was Charms created? Charms was literally created to unify this fragmented ecosystem that we have. We obviously know that fragmentation causes a lot of issues within this ecosystem. You know, the user journey sucks. And a big part of these like scams and things of that nature being able to take place is also due to fragmentation. And so Charms is going to unite the cryptocurrency ecosystem. It's going to unite everybody. That's, and it's going to tie it back into our operating system. And that's essentially what we need to be able to take crypto to the next level. We obviously know, we look at just technology that's come out over the course of the last, 50, 100 years. It's like without an operating system to kind of take it to the next level, it remains dormant. It remains stagnant. It has limitations. And so that's what's missing in crypto as well, is we need an operating system to take us to the next level. We need unity. So that's all I'll say to that. Just look at our actions, look at the actual tangible things that we're doing, and let that kind of be a testament of truth in a sense. Hopefully that answers your question, my friend. Okay, guys, there's quite a few questions here. I'm going to try to get through them faster because, we're kind of on a time schedule here. Dennis, when Lambo asked any news about TGE, I already answered it, my friend. Again, it's really focused on securing top tier partnerships. Our conversations are progressing really well, but we just need your patience in the meantime. Love the black aesthetic and rebrand. Can we have a black profile pic background? You absolutely can, my friend. I will be working on those in the next couple of days. Jason said, what upcoming incentives and events are we to expect from the BOS team for the ecosystem and community? Here's the thing, guys. With that is there are certain things that I can make an announcement for before the actual announcement itself. Do you know what I mean? But there are also things that I can't make an announcement for before the actual announcement goes out. Do you get my drift? It's like there's a lot of people in the community that want an announcement before an announcement. Unfortunately, that's not how the cryptocurrency space works. That's just it just doesn't make sense because things change on a daily basis, and so we can't give announcements before announcements. So do we have incentives and events that you guys can expect? Absolutely, my friend. I mean, just look at the course of the last couple of months from, the airdrop campaign to the OKX Cryptopedia campaign, all the other incentives, so on and so forth. Just take that as truth, and know that we absolutely have a lot of things planned for you guys. A lot of exciting things. Promise you that. On my end, I'll be upfront about this. I'll be upfront about this for you guys. And I guess this is another piece of alpha. This is another piece of alpha for you guys that we're sharing today on top of ZKBTC. I am building a brand ambassador program. A lot of you actually know about this. A lot of you don't know about this. But there is something that I haven't shared with you guys regarding the brand ambassador program. And that's that there's going to be different levels to it. Some of these levels are not going to be open to everybody, unfortunately. There's going to be a very set amount of requirements that are going to need to take place, which is, let's just say a specific amount of followers. Your content has to be, of a specific grade. It has to be high quality. It has to be non-AI generated. It has to actually come from your heart. So there's going to be that side of that. There's going to be a developer side of that. And then there's also going to be a community side of the brand ambassador program where there's still going to be requirements that unfortunately not everybody is going to be able to cater to, but a majority of you will be able to participate in our general brand ambassador program. So that's pretty exciting. A lot of you guys have already been acting as our brand ambassadors. You know this. So, again, this is just a way for us to give back to you. So pretty exciting. David, see you later, my friend. Thank you so much for coming up.
Yeah, take care, guys. Talk to you soon.
Appreciate you. I know it's super late there. Take care, my friend.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Okay, so just shared a little bit of alpha there. Eric, do you have to drop as well, or?
No, I'm good. I'm
Okay,
chilling.
cool. Awesome. Let's see here. Okay, let me just give you points for that. How many people are currently working for BitcoinOS and how many have recently joined? Good question. So, as you guys know, Andrew, who was our senior content manager, we absolutely love Andrew. He's still very much a part of the team, right? In so many ways, because we're all building on the BOS ecosystem. As you guys know, he is actually now the co-founder of Charms, my friends. Congratulations to Andrew. Hold on, let's give a round of applause. Being a co-founder is not easy by any means. So he has a super long journey ahead of him. Yeah, with that being said, at the moment, we are we are doing what we can within the team to kind of take over his position and the roles that he had. Obviously, we can't do it as perfectly as he does, but we're doing our best at the moment. But with that being said, you guys could potentially be expecting a new team member to join us within the coming months, coming weeks. So stay tuned for that as well. In terms of the commercial side of things, we have quite a few. We have quite a few on the team. So we have me, I do head of community, Eric, events and BD. We have Calvin, who is head of ecosystems and BD as well. We have Shir. You guys met him earlier. He's having network issues. He's head of marketing. We have Fine Line, who helps us with all our visuals and graphic designs. We have Brendan, who helps us out with just kind of like editing like some videos and stuff that we have. He does a lot of like editing, and like he's created some of those like really cool like video memes that we've posted on the main account a couple weeks back between like Cardano and BOS. I'm sure you guys have seen that, or Cardano Bitcoin memes. Who else am I missing? We have David, who is our lead DevRel. And then we also have some, let me see here. I feel like I'm missing someone right now. It's really hard on the top of my head. We have some executive assistants that help our finance department and then help Yago. And then as you guys know, we have Yago, who's our co-founder. We have Hillary, who's our co-founder. And then we also have Elon, who's also our co-founder. So we have 3 co-founders. Oh, I might actually be missing one. Eric, do you know if I'm missing one?
I think it's just the 3 of them because actually no, I think Gotti, who's our
Gotti.
CTO, is also a co-founder as well.
Okay. And you guys actually have met Gotti. He came on during, I believe it was like the Bitsnark being open sourced community call that we had a couple months back. But with the upcoming roadmap, we'll definitely be having him up on the community call as well so that he can basically answer all your questions and go over all the, just like the timelines and things that we expect over the course of the next couple of months to a year. So that should be exciting. And then that's the BTC OS team. So that's like the commercial and growth side. Obviously, our CTO is our CTO, but we also have like quite a few developers. But I do believe they're on the extraterrestrial tech entity. So yeah, if there's any changes to the team, I promise you guys will know. And let's see here. Cointree said, since we have Charms in charge of BOS UTXO tech, what use is the Grail Bridge, and does Charms bring an end to the Grail Bridge? That's a really good question, my friend. And that's something that I answered last community call. So no, Charms does not put an end to the Grail. So with the Grail, what we're actually doing is we're actually building out an advanced version of the Grail. It's called Grail Pro. And this will be highlighted in the upcoming roadmap that you guys should expect relatively soon. Now, this Grail Pro is specifically going to be catered towards institutional users, custodians. So our technology is significantly different than what they've been using. Like I had mentioned, we have the one event trust assumption. We're using zero knowledge proof technology. And then we have advanced signing features as well as part of that. And so this is something that custodians are typically not working with at this moment in time. And so the Grail Pro is strictly going to be catered towards these institutional users. When we have more information, I promise we'll not only have a space around it, but we'll also have like a blog that we're working on, and I'll make sure I get all your questions answered. Stormfister asked, what has changed in the team and how big is the team? So we actually just answered that, my friend, but I will give you points for it. The biggest change was just Andrew moved on to become the co-founder of Charms. But like I said, guys, like Charms is also part of the BOS ecosystem. We're all working towards like the same goal. So even though he's technically not on the BTCOS team, he's still part of the team in the overall sense of things. Let's see here. How can new users get quickly accustomed to the project? So this is a really good question, my friend, and welcome. I know that you're new. So there's a couple of ways. The first thing that I would recommend is to go on our website, which is BitcoinOS.build. You can find our blog. Our blog has a lot of incredible, like just jam-packed, like information on it, like really, really solid information on it, pretty simplified as well. It was actually written by Andrew, who I had just mentioned. He was our senior content manager. And yeah, so that's ultimately where I would start. I would start there, and then if you've kind of graduated from that, I would move on to the AMA Spaces channel, which is on our Discord. So the AMA Spaces channel not only has recordings from past community calls, but it also has summaries of pretty much everything that was discussed. So I would take a look at that. Now, another channel that I would look at, which slightly needs to be updated, and I apologize that I haven't updated it. I honestly just have not had time. It's the BOS FAQs channel. So what I did with the BOS FAQs channel is I took pretty much like complicated concepts within our OS, within our infrastructure, and I've simplified it. So any kind of like FAQ that has like come up significantly, I've went out of my way to like answer that for you in a simplified manner. I will be updating that. Promise you guys, I will be updating that over the course of the next week to 2 weeks. I've just been really focused on other things, especially with more like updated information. For example, Charms. No matter how much we talk about Charms, it's still something that's like kind of difficult to grasp, right? Because it's like, how does it leave the chain and go to another chain? So there's questions like that. And I want to be able to answer that for you guys once again so that you have the tools you need to comfortably navigate our ecosystem. Let's see here. We have so many channels. I am struggling to find the AMA questions channel. We actually need to clean up Discord a little bit, I think. Where's the AMA questions channel? There it is. Anon asked, what inspired the rebrand? Good question, my friend. We, touch base on it a little bit, but next Tuesday, like I said, we're actually going to be bringing up the masterminds behind the actual rebrand. So they'll talk about the Mage, they'll talk about the Tesseract, which is the cube that we have in our logo. They'll talk about like the visuals, the imagery, basically cover the entirety of it. And give you guys an idea of just how it all comes together with actually our ecosystem. So I highly recommend partaking in that call. I will put it up in the events section on Discord today at some point. So next question here. And these are going to be the last couple questions, guys, just because we're running out of time here. For the BOS community call AMA question, since the BOS and Sovereign team are basically the same, is there also work being done to get the Sovereign token listed on top tier sexes or dexes? That's a good question. I'm going to be honest. A lot of people say that, the sovereign team is the same team as BOS, but that's not necessarily true. I wouldn't go to say that they're the same team. There are people that work on those teams. For example, Shir, who's our head of marketing, he introduced himself to you guys. He does also work with Sovereign. And then we also have Yago, who's our co-founder, and then we have Elon, who's also our co-founder. So they're part of they're part of Sovereign, and we definitely obviously have like communications with Sovereign because Sovereign incubated the research and development that went into BOS. We are, very close, but to say it's the same team is not accurate. So, when it comes to the Sovereign token being listed on top tier sexes or dexes, I can't comment on that. I'm not sure, and I don't want to mislead you. But I do know that, as a result of Charms and as a result of BOS, there's a lot more opportunity that's going to be flowing to Sovereign as a result. So that's all I can say. So Danny said, let me give you points for that. Hold on. So Danny said the BOS community is great. Thank you, my friend. It's lovely having you. My question is that for someone that is not on Discord channel, where can they find information to purchase the BOS presale token? So you can find that on our website. You can also find that on our blog. You can find that on Twitter. We have a thread that's pinned to the top of the to the top of our account, to the top of our dashboard. Have some person asking, but would like to find information to purchase presale token on X. Like I said, it's pinned to the top of our dashboard. Or our profile, if that makes sense, on X. And then you can also find a blog that talks all about the presale as well. Okay. For those that bought the presale token late, how can they claim the BOS verified role since those roles are no longer available? That's a good question. At the moment, you can't. And just to give you guys context of like what that is, the BOS verified role and the BOS verified 2 role was given to those who purchased, partook. I don't know if that's a word. Partook, pre-take, whatever. I'm having a brain fart moment. In the presale, either phase 1 or phase 2. And then that was given to them so that they could get extra points for the airdrop. Of course, the airdrop campaign is no longer live. And so, so with that being said, the BOS verified role has not necessarily we haven't been bringing more people onto it. But I have been thinking about this. I have been thinking about reopening the opportunity for you guys to be able to claim this role. So if that does change, I'll let you know. Number 3, when is the presale going to end? Good question, my friend. At the moment, there's no date that's essentially been finalized. We are just trying to give everybody a chance to participate. There's a lot of you that have, been in the community that have been participating, but have, it's kind of been like a slow process for you guys. Maybe you don't have like the funds right away. Maybe the funds are coming over an extended period of time, so on and so forth. So we just want to be able to give everybody a chance to participate. A lot of people, like I have mentioned in previous calls, are also not on these social channels, right? And maybe they just received an email. Maybe they visited our website like late, maybe they visit it like 2-3 months later. We want to be able to give everybody a chance to be able to participate. And that's kind of like the mindset that we have right now. But in terms of an end date, we haven't finalized anything. I promise you guys though, when we do finalize a date, we will let you guys know ahead of time so that you can plan accordingly. So don't worry. It's not going to be like one day it's like, oh, it's done. So don't worry about that. All right, next question. Lord Whitefire, how might BitcoinOS's recent innovations like the ZKBTC token, trustless bridges influence institutional adoption of Bitcoin for tokenized assets, as suggested by Eden Yago? That's a good question, my friend. Hold on a second here. Just bringing up one of our friends. Okay, so Welcome, by the way, Lord Dre. Good to have you on the speaker panel. As always, my friend, really appreciate what you do for your community. For those of you that don't know, like Lord Dre has been supporting us for a while, and he comes up as a speaker just so that he gives exposure to his community. So I respect that highly. So to answer this question, I'm going to repeat it again. How might BitcoinOS's recent innovations like the ZK-BTC token and trustless bridges influence institutional adoption of Bitcoin for tokenized assets? So I'm going to be honest with you guys. I don't know everything. I really don't know much. Like I try to like learn as much as I can about this space. But you know, to possibly learn everything and to possibly have an opinion on everything, an idea on everything is just, you know, you're kind of like lying to yourself. So the only thing that I can really comment on with this, and this is a really great question for Iago, is ZKBTC, right, is basically BTC, but it's wrapped into a charm, right? And it's going to make it programmable, right? So Bitcoin at this very moment in time is simply a peer-to-peer payment system and pretty much a store of value, right? It's limited to these elements. We do not have programmability that's taking place at the moment, like we see on Ethereum and Solana, so on and so forth, right? So it's basically, we have Bitcoin that is essentially sitting dormant for all these years, right? I think we're at like almost like $2.3 trillion now. I remember when we were talking about this concept, you know, Bitcoin was at like 1.8 or 1.9 T. We're sitting at a $2.3 trillion market cap at this very moment in time, but it's dormant, right? Bitcoin is pretty much dormant. You cannot do much with your Bitcoin. And if there are opportunities for you to do things with your Bitcoin, it's not trustless. And so we're bringing in not only programmability so that you're able to do more with your Bitcoin, you're able to earn on your Bitcoin, you're able to take loans out on your Bitcoin, you're able to trustlessly kind of like create trustless interactions with your Bitcoin. Having a brain fart moment here, but Bitcoin is now going to be able to live natively on all UTXO based chains, right? So what we're basically doing is we're bringing Bitcoin's liquidity that's been sitting dormant to all these other chains, right? So we're bringing it to Cardano. Now Cardano is going to get access to Bitcoin's liquidity, or we can bring Cardano to Bitcoin, and now Cardano is going to have access to Bitcoin's liquidity, right? Litecoin is going to have access to Bitcoin's liquidity. So there's a lot of elements that are kind of being worked out over here. So we have the programmability aspect so that you can actually do more with your Bitcoin. And then we have this interoperability aspect and giving all these other chains exposure to Bitcoin's liquidity. So, you know, in terms of, you know, institutional adoption, I think that's where we're going to kind of see like things get played out, because institutions, at this very moment in time, when it comes to their Bitcoin, they either just buy and hold and they don't do anything with it. One, because they can't, or two, because it's not trustless, guys. Like, if I want to bridge my Bitcoin from one chain to another, what typically happens is it goes into a vault. And that vault is secured by a custodian. It's secured by literally an individual, right? And that means that I'm trusting somebody else with my Bitcoin. And typically a lot of these institutions, they don't have one Bitcoin. They have thousands of Bitcoin, you know, and whenever they're making these types of transactions, you know, they're gambling with, you know, they're risking a lot. And we have seen time and time again that this specific model, right, where you trust a custodian with your Bitcoin, or you trust a custodian with your assets, we have seen time and time again that this system specifically has been prone to compromise. If you look at the Ronin Bridge, Harmony's Horizon Bridge, for example, they have followed this same custodian-based system and have failed, have been hacked for millions and millions of dollars. So this is a major issue right now for institutional adoption, is being able to do anything with your Bitcoin, and then also trust. It's like, Even if I have like $50 in Bitcoin, I don't want to trust the custodian. I don't. I'm sorry. Like, you're really banking on the individual. Like, you're banking on the individual, and the individual can make mistakes, but guess what can't make mistakes, my friend? Mathematics, cryptography. And that is exactly what our system is using. And so I do believe that as soon as there is an understanding of the tech that we've created, and yeah, obviously an understanding of the tech that we've created, I do foresee institutional adoption of ZKBTC, institutional adoption of our technology, because it's safe. It's absolutely safe, and you get to control. You essentially get to control like your assets. Let's just say. But again, my friend, that's definitely a question for Yago. And apologies if I'm kind of like slowing down here, my friends. Answering questions back to back, sometimes it can become a little bit draining. So the next question here, the answer doesn't have to be BOS specific, but what are you looking forward to the most in, say, the next 5 to 10 years in the crypto space? Would love to hear from the team too. For me, I really, really hope and look forward to worldwide adoption, paying rent with crypto, paying for groceries. I'm right there with you, my friend. I also look on a personal level. I definitely look forward to worldwide adoption as well. I would absolutely love to pay my rent with crypto. What's actually interesting is MetaMask. Some of you might know, some of you might not know, but MetaMask, like as of maybe like 4 months ago, they came out with a card, and you can actually pay for a lot of your daily just transactions in your everyday life with your MetaMask card. And so you can put USDC in there, you could put USDT in there, and then you could pay for your groceries with your MetaMask card. Now, a feature that they're actually going to enable in the coming months, I think Q4 they said, is you're actually going to be able to pay for your rent with your MetaMask card, which is extremely exciting because I would absolutely love to do that. I would rather hold all my assets or all my money as a crypto asset and not have to hold in fiat currency whatsoever. Obviously, there's such a major depreciating value of fiat currency. So that's me too. I'm on the same page with worldwide adoption. And another thing that I look forward to as well is an end to fragmentation. As we say time and time again, so many issues come as a result of fragmentation in the space. And for me, one of the biggest things is the scams and fraudulent activity that takes place in the space, because that is also going to be something that's a major limitation in user adoption, right? If we have a space that's a cesspool of like toxicity, that's a cesspool of scams and hacks and all that kind of stuff, it's really difficult to get user adoption, because what's going to happen is people are going to come in, they're going to get scammed, and they're going to get turned away from it. So I'm really looking forward to an ecosystem that's united, to an ecosystem where the user journey is easy, the user journey is mapped out, it's streamlined, everybody is able to be onboarded with ease. And as a result of this unification, right, we have less scams, we have less hacks, people are more aware of things that are going on. So that's ultimately what I'm looking forward to. But Eric, what about you? Like, is there anything that you're looking forward to in the next 5-10 years within the crypto space?
It's funny. It's probably the question that I like. People ask me a lot about. I think maybe you come from a place of like not having as much like past experience. I'm by no means a degen, but I think, maybe the perspective interesting, because I came into this space and I've only worked professionally in this space for Bitcoin projects. So oddly enough, in contrast to most of the people in Web3, like my expertise is limited primarily to Bitcoin, which is like the opposite of most. So, having only worked for projects that work in like I used to work for the Mezzo team, and they, they just launched MUSD, essentially collateralizing Bitcoin, Bitcoin backed loans. So when you're working in like with projects that are trying to create programmability and scalability in Bitcoin, and you had no prior, like I was never in the casinos, I was never like doing stupid shit with my money, and also, you know, I guess some people were also doing smart shit with their money. So it's just like I'm excited to see, you know, from my unique perspective, where sort of the financial landscape is going to end up. There's still a kind of a lot of uncertainty around this, and some people are trusting the process, some are chomping at the bit, and some aren't buying it. But again, I don't have any background in sort of TradFi or you know, a financial portfolio, either digital or in, you know, the stock market. So I'm just kind of along for the ride, honestly. Like I said, I'm learning more every day about, you know, the impact these can have. As, you know, also as an American, it's a little bit of a different perspective as well, a little bit more restricted in not only what we have access to, but also, the progress that we can make at the same rate as some of these other countries. And so it's been eye-opening. I don't think there's any one thing that I'm, excited to see, but just in general, just seeing how Bitcoin is going to sort of transform, how people use their money.
Hell yeah, I like it. So you're just kind of like going with the flow and kind of experiencing the space as it is, and I appreciate that. I respect that. Let's see here. There's a couple questions here that. Okay, Jane June asked, how will the rebrand of BOS strengthen its ecosystem and position it to drive broader adoption of Bitcoin native DeFi, particularly in terms of attracting devs and integrating with other blockchain networks like Cardano? So that's an interesting question. Kind of what I said before, right, guys? Like, the rebrand is more than just this design change. It's a testament to the new era that BOS is stepping into. It's a testament to the new era that the crypto ecosystem is stepping into. A testament to the new era that Bitcoin is stepping into. So, you know, the rebrand is pretty much a reflection of this open invitation into, like I said, a familiar yet transformed setting, right? So that we can all come together and we can shape the future of this new internet of value, right? So that's kind of the goal with the rebrand. Is it's an open invitation. It's a testament to the fact that we're coming together, we're building together, and we're stepping into a new era within the cryptocurrency space. So that's pretty much all I can answer to that in terms of driving broader adoption of Bitcoin native DeFi and attracting developers. I don't think that's the purpose of the rebrand necessarily. It's more so just a symbolism. It's a testament to the new era that we're stepping into collectively. You know, it's a new era where we're going to co-create and connect and shape the future of Bitcoin, shape the future of crypto together. So it's not so much about like adoption. It's not so much about attracting developers of any kind. It's more so just like a statement. Hopefully that answers your question. Hamdist said, no questions here. Just keep crushing it. We're rooting for you every step of the way. It's not how far, but how well. Keep building. Thank you so much, my friend. You're awesome. We love you. Appreciate your support always. Okay, guys, I'm ending honestly here. Like, the questions keep coming in, and unfortunately, like, my brain capacity is lessening here. I'm kind of like slowing down. So I'm gonna answer like 3 questions randomly. Okay, 3 questions randomly. We've already answered questions about TGE, so you know, TGE and any information around that. So I'm not going to answer that. Earl 400 said, are there any partnerships with Handle to use with or in the ecosystem? We are in talks with Handle. We are very close with the Handle team. We actually, I'm not sure if you guys know this or not, but when we had our first Charms demo where we beamed XBTC, at the time we were calling it XBTC. It's now being called ZKBTC. And the reason for that shift, by the way, is because OKX came out with like a token that's called XBTC. So, I don't know if you guys remember this, but when we had our first demo of the Bitcoin to Cardano, like beaming transactions with Charms, Handle was very much a part of that. So like I said, we are in talks with them. We have connections with them. We're very close with them. And then I will say that you guys can expect something very, very, very exciting. I can't say what, but you guys can expect something very exciting to actually do with Handle itself. That's all I can share for now. If anything changes in terms of like actually using handles within the ecosystem, I will definitely let you guys know. I might be able to share some information in the next community call, actually. Let me see here. So Bitcoin BOS said, when a Bitcoin is wrapped via Charms and moved natively off to another chain, does that effectively change the Bitcoin supply? If so, what is stopping bad actors from completely manipulating the Bitcoin supply? No, it does not, my friend. So if I were to take Bitcoin and I were to wrap it as a charm, right, it actually leaves the chain. And let's say I'm trying to beam it to Cardano. It actually leaves the chain completely and it moves with everything that is assigned to it, right? All the information that's actually assigned to Bitcoin, right? To the actual like token, to the actual standard itself. So it's not going to affect the supply whatsoever, because what happens is whenever you wrap like a token in a charm, it's recursive, which means that its history completely travels with itself. And so because its history can completely travel with itself, no, we're not going to see any, we're not going to, see a change in the Bitcoin supply. The only change we would see if is any regular change that you would see, which is like if transactions are taking place, and of course there's going to be a change in the supply and well, the supply is fixed, but I just mean more so in like liquidity being exchanged or moving up, like, moving in different directions, if that makes sense. But there's going to be no, from my understanding, there's really no need to stop any bad actors from manipulating the Bitcoin supply, because again, that's just not how it works. The history travels with itself. So Bitcoin remains the same throughout. Let's see. Sorry, my dog's about to lose her mind, just letting you guys know. My question is, with the recent rebrand to BitcoinOS and growing partnerships across major chains, how will the ecosystem expand to make Bitcoin the core settlement layer for a truly interoperable blockchain world? Let me reread that. My question is, with the recent rebrand to BitcoinOS and growing partnerships across major chains, how will the ecosystem expand to make Bitcoin the core settlement layer for a truly interoperable blockchain world? So that's a pretty good question, my friend. I'm going to be honest, Yago would probably be the best to answer that question. And like I said, he's out of office, so I would honestly rather he addresses that. I want to answer this question, but right now my brain is just like turning into soup, and I'm kind of struggling to like piece information together. So all I can say is, in terms of making Bitcoin the core settlement layer, what we're actually doing is slightly a little bit different than that. We're actually making all UTXOs kind of like the settlement layer. So we're kind of creating like this UTXO superchain alliance, right? Between Litecoin, between Bitcoin, between Cardano, with obviously hopes to expand to other UTXO chains as well, kind of like Doge. I believe Monero is also a UTXO chain. There's a few others as well. So the goal is to kind of create this like the super chain alliance, this UTXO alliance, and to have that kind of be like the foundational core settlement layer for pretty much the entire cryptocurrency ecosystem. So eventually the goal for us is to expand to the entire crypto ecosystem so that everything can kind of come back home to this settlement layer, right? We obviously know that Bitcoin is the most securest network. Like we know this for a fact. It has like the absolute best security. And so we basically want everybody to kind of like be connected to Bitcoin. We want everybody to have access to Bitcoin's security, but we also want everybody to have access to Bitcoin's liquidity, right? Because it's been sitting dormant. And so the entire goal of our operating system that we've created is to create interoperability so that the entire crypto ecosystem can plug into Bitcoin and not only get access to its security, but also its liquidity as well, right? There's no reason why $2.4 trillion should be sitting there dormant. People should be able to actually like move their Bitcoin and use their Bitcoin within other ecosystems, right? So that we don't have siloed liquidity, we don't have fragmentation. And then, yeah, hopefully that answers that. And I did want to also comment on something interesting. Jimmy Shaker had said, you know, how do you guys plan on like moving forward with like trust, right? And like honesty. So one thing that we're doing, and I'm just like remembering as I'm speaking here, one major issue with fragmentation too is that what tends to happen is that we have all these developers that are spread across like multiple ecosystems. We have all these developers that have to learn a new programming language because that chain requires you to learn, for example, Haskell, right? Or whatever it might be. So with that, this also causes issues, right? So we need unity. We need developers to be able to have some kind of like universal system so that they can build on different chains. And so with Charms, what we're doing is we're actually creating like a system that's going to enable that. Where we're creating this system that's going to allow developers to be able to come in and no matter the language that they know, to be able to take the Charms technology and utilize it. And at the moment, this is in the developer community, by the way, this is like an ongoing problem where it's like, how do you create a universal language when there's all these other different languages when it comes to like tech, right? Like you might open source something, but not everybody can use it because of the technology or because of the code. So it's like, this is an ongoing problem in the dev community. From my understanding, the Charms team has figured out a way to address that and combat that. So again, the reason why I'm bringing this up is so that you can kind of just look at our efforts and understand that everything that we're doing is about unification and everything that's coming, every intention, every action that we take is genuinely about bringing people together, bringing the ecosystem together, and ultimately that's going to have effects on the entire crypto space, right? So that is pretty much it for today, my friends. Let's see here. Okay, so there's a lot of questions on Discord. Guys, I need you to be patient, please. Like there's a lot of like frustration around the sprint, and there's a lot of frustration around like some of the roles that we have and so on and so forth. Like please be patient. Like I promise you that you will get an answer. And we just have a space that's ongoing right now. In terms of, I'm going to answer these final questions. In terms of the roles, Die Hard role was given to the top 100 of last Zeely sprint. You cannot get it now, but you will more than likely some of you will be able to claim it at the end of this sprint. Okay, this upcoming sprint, the one that is ongoing right now. The Boss Verified role, the Boss Verified 2 role, that was for airdrop participants, people who participated in the pre-sale. I may or may not be opening this up again. Stay tuned. There's also free XP being given to people who are top 15 of the leadership board on Zeely. These are people who have just done general quests, guys. These are not people who have participated in the sprint. They do participate in the sprint as well, but it's people who just have been around for a very long time. I have to give back to these people. I have to. Like if you were in that person's like position, you would also want some kind of incentive because you're the top of the leadership board and you've been supporting and advocating for us for a very long time. It only makes sense, right? So one thing that I'm going to highlight here, my friends, and what I mean by all of this is, guys, we try to cater to every single one of you, and we try to do the absolute best that we can, and we just need your patience. Like, we need your patience and we need your understanding. Please understand that we are humans as well behind the screen. We're not some kind of like I don't know, like AI robot that you guys assume that I am. But we are not AI robots. We are not AI agents. We don't, you know what I'm saying? It's like we are humans at the end of the day. So we just ask that you are patient with us, please. And please understand that it's like, we do something and we can't win, and then we offer something else and we also can't win. So there's a lot of these situations taking place where we listen to you and we offer something and we can't win, and then we do the opposite and then we also can't win, right? It's like we cater to, we give XP, for example, in this situation, we give you guys XP for people who have, collected different roles within the community, and, we're pleasing that crowd. But then there's people coming in, they're like, I can't get those roles, and now I'm upset. And so we can't please that crowd. So it's like, you see what I'm trying to say here is like, it's really hard to like win. It's really hard to win, but we are absolutely trying our best. I promise you that. I will always do whatever I can within the community to create as much fairness as I possibly can for you guys, and opportunity. And please do remember that BitcoinOS, like BOS, like we're more than just incentives, guys. At the end of the day, like, we're building hard tech. We are building things that have not been built before. Look at the BLS12 ZKVM that we're building for the Cardano integration, right? We actually, not even Cardano integration, it's beyond just the Cardano integration. It's the fact that nobody uses, there is currently no such thing as a BLS12 compatible ZKVM. We are building the very first one, right? So like, please keep in mind that we are so much more than just incentives and campaigns and USDC rewards and so on and so forth. And I implore you, as a crypto, as a member of like the cryptocurrency space, I implore that, you don't just jump from project to project because there's incentives. You're not really doing the due diligence for yourself. You're kind of playing yourself at the end of the day, because there's so much more that's going on in the space beyond just incentives, right? Anybody who's stuck around in our community, they're continuously learning. They're continuously learning. Like I had mentioned at the start of this call, people came in initially, they had no idea what zero knowledge proof technology is, right? And now they know what ZKPs are. And now when it's mentioned across different projects, different spaces, blogs, articles, things of that nature, now they're familiar with that. And guess what, my friends? They're elevating themselves. They're growing. They're learning. There's so much learning opportunity here. So I advise you that, if you are simply just here for the incentives, please, push yourself a little, push yourself to that next step, and just try to act as a sponge, and, try to learn as much as you possibly can, because there's a lot of learning opportunities here. But with that being said, my friends, I am slowing down significantly, and it is Friday, guys, so I'm sure a lot of you want to, log out, go touch grass, be with your friends and family. But with that being said, we actually do have a movie night that's coming up in about 3 hours. So please stay tuned for that. Would love for you guys to participate. Like I said, I'll be giving you guys Zeely Sprint XP and Engage XP. And then also stay tuned for an announcement later today about the Engage Marketplace opening up, so that you can exchange your points for rewards. With that being said, my friends, just a quick shout out to Eric. Thank you again, my friend, for being here. I'm sure that the community really loved just hearing from you and getting introduced to you. So much appreciated there. And then Lord Dre as well. Thank you so much for coming up, my friend, as always. Like, it's always so refreshing to see how you navigate your community. Like, I absolutely love that you come up as a speaker. You don't say much, but you're literally here so that you can give exposure to your community and give them as much information as possible. And obviously information is power. So much love to you as always, my friend. Yeah, just appreciate you significantly. With that, guys, as always, we end these on a good note. Please go out this weekend and touch grass. Please go out in nature. Please meditate. Please practice mindfulness. Life is not all about working. Life is not all about cryptocurrency. It's not all about tech, right? It's also about just like purely living in the moment, which is something that a lot of us forget to do. So please go out, be with your friends, be with your family, log off your devices, and just enjoy this beautiful life, my friends. Enjoy Earth. Go out and have a good time. So with that, we're ending on a good note. Take care, my friends. Much love to you all.